Good morning, gentlemen. Today I'm going to talk to you about the corruption in the Indian political system, and I'm going to focus on two men. Those who are old timers, they must have seen a Hollywood movie. Once There Was a Crooked Man. It stars Kirk Douglas. And you all know Kirk Douglas was one of the very famous actors of Hollywood. I liked him very much. In this particular movie, he plays the role of a rustler. You know who's a rustler? Rustler is a man who steals horses and cattle. And these were the days of the Wild West. Now this man would go around stealing horses and cattle, sell them and make a pile of money. And this money he would put in a small bag and bury it in the sand. And he had an earmark, well, this is the place I'm going to come. And after years, when he wants to give up his nefarious activities, he comes back to the same spot, takes out that bag and puts his hand inside. And what happens? He's bit by a rattlesnake, and then he catches his hand and says, "Oh my God," and he dies. That means ill-gotten wealth is always having a repercussion. And there's the man I'm going to point out to you is Mr. Arvind Kejriwal. Now, Arvind Kejriwal is the leader of the Aam Aadmi Party. If you look at him, he looks like a head clerk, He doesn't look like a leader. I've seen his photographs. He's walking around in the court, taking escorted by the policemen, and he creates the impression that he is a head clerk. So he's not a leader at all. He doesn't have the charisma of a leader. So this man, Arvind Kejriwal, had joined the anti-corruption agitation of a man called Anna Hazare. And he at that time was a star, and he was telling Anna Hazare that we'll do away with corruption, we'll do this, we'll do that. And ultimately, he did something else. He went and joined the same political system which he had been criticizing and formed the Aam Aadmi Party on the plea that he would eradicate corruption. Initially, the people were really fired by him, and he was able to win the Delhi parliamentary seats, that is the assembly seats, and won a majority. In fact, so big was the majority that in the first election he won 67 out of 70 seats. That was because of the disenchantment of the Delhi public with the way things were moving. There was corruption all around, and he said, "I'm going to clean it up." Wonderful, very nice idea. But people didn't know that he is more corrupt than anybody else. And he had been hobnobbing with so many undesirable elements. I'll leave you to draw the conclusion, because he is reported to have written a letter, which I've seen as available on the internet, to one of the protagonists who had gone on fast to get the release of one of the terrorists who had made an attempt on the life of Bitta, the Congress leader. And net result was that letter promised that he would do his best to get this terrorist released. There are also reports that he did have a meeting with a terrorist leader from the Six for Justice somewhat time in 2014 in his house. That means he was hobnobbing with extremist elements in the hope that he would come to power cut way, because his main intention has always been to come into power by hook or by crook and create a facade that, look, I am being persecuted, the government is against me, I am an honest man. But over that facade, he was actually minting money. And what had to happen had happened. He was arrested by the authorities for what has come to be known as the liquor scam. Now, when he was Chief Minister of Delhi, he thought the best way to make money is by liquor, because liquor is something everybody likes. And he increased the royalty or the percentage of benefit to the bidders from 5 to 12%. And he had an understanding with them that a substantial portion of that money will be transferred to him. Now, as per my information, there is plenty of evidence against him that he is the kingpin, the kingmaster. But as usual, as I've repeatedly mentioned, the impediment to prosecution of criminals, the impediment to change in the country, to bring it in line with the other countries, I think is the Supreme Court. I have nothing against the Supreme Court. They are old, venerable judges sitting there, but I think they are out of tune with what is required. If you remember, the French judiciary also failed badly in the 1789 revolution, and ultimately everybody forgot about the judiciary, about the constabulary, about the army, and there was a people's revolt. In 1789, the Bastille was stormed, and the revolutionary government came into power. That led to the coming to power of Napoleon later on. I'm not saying the same thing is going to happen in India, but everything will happen in its own way. And I think the Supreme Court, as far as I understand now, might give some interim relief to Mr. Kejriwal. I don't know what they're going to give, but maybe some interim relief. I hope they don't do it. But if they do it, well, it's their pigeon. They feel that a man who is a criminal or something like that has been arrested for so many crimes should be released. Well, fair enough. That's part of the Supreme Court's way of functioning. You see, what happens is, for the good of the majority, the minority cannot take the majority for a right. And Kejriwal is getting more than any benefit. I would just like to ask all these people who are talking and chirping in favor of Kejriwal, would they do the same thing if there was a common individual involved? I don't think so. That man would be rotting in jail. But Kejriwal is a special case. Now Kejriwal's case is a little different. He approached the Supreme Court stating that his arrest is illegal. The charges against him are illegal. He hasn't asked for bail or anticipatory bail. And the Supreme Court has to decide on this. Are the charges legal or not legal? Or they want to quash the charges against him. You can't play a double game and say, no, the charges continue but give him a bail when he hasn't asked for it. The judgment is on what Kejriwal has asked. We'll have to wait and see how the Supreme Court handles this. But at the moment, I'm not very happy with the way things are moving in the country. If a man like Kejriwal gets away, well, what can you say about it? Because along with Kejriwal, his Deputy Prime Minister and two other people, including the daughter of the ex-Chief Minister of Telangana, they are all in jail, relaxing. And the Supreme Court has already turned down their pleas for bail. So if there is evidence against them, how come the man who wears the crown in response to all these people can be released? I mean, it doesn't stand to reason. If Manish Sisodia can be in jail for over a year, and he is the Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, obviously he was reporting to whom? He was reporting to Mr. Kejriwal. And yet you say, no, Kejriwal should be allowed to go free. It doesn't really stand to reason. And the common man, I've talked to a lot of people, and they feel pretty disgruntled about the whole situation. And there are a few die-hard supporters of Kejriwal who are saying, no, he's been wrong. But I don't think there are more than 1 to 2%. The majority feel he has committed a crime and he should be punished for it. Let the trial go on. And if Manish Sisodia can be kept in jail for such a long time, for months together, there is no reason why Kejriwal can't be kept. And Kejriwal must come forward and explain his role in the entire thing. Just stating, I am not involved. How is he not involved? How can a Chief Minister, the head of the state, the government, not be involved when such a major decision is taken to raise the royalty from 5 to 12%? And then there's a money trail. Part of the money, I believe, was used in the Goa election. Of course, they didn't win a single seat. They got 0. The Aam Aadmi Party. They are contesting 1 seat in Gujarat. They're going to get 0. And in Delhi also, they may meet 1 odd seat here and there. And in Punjab, I don't think there are 13 seats. They'll be lucky to get 3. So, gentlemen, Kejriwal has got one quality. He plays the victim card. I am victimized. Modi government is against me. I'm an honest man. Believe me. I have nothing to do with the liquor scam. They were done by my cabinet colleagues and they kept me in the dark. Wonderful. I mean, this is something which even a layman will not accept, and I, as a lawyer, will not accept it at all. But anyway, it's the prerogative of the Supreme Court to accept such arguments on technical grounds. And one of the grounds is that he head of the Aam Aadmi Party and should be allowed to campaign. How can you allow a man who is tainted to campaign? Campaign for what? That some more tainted men be put into the parliament? So, gentlemen, the writing is on the wall. Whatever the Supreme Court will do, I think Kejriwal plays a number. I hope so, because another thing has come up, as I told you, and the Lieutenant Governor has asked the NIA to investigate the terrorist links of Kejriwal. And as I've already mentioned, he had a meeting with the Khalistan leaders way back in 2014, and Gurwant Singh Pannu, who is the president of the Six for Justice Forum, claimed that he's given him some millions of dollars as a donation since 2014. And as I told you, he was campaigning for the release of the terrorists, and probably he made some secret promises to the Khalistan leadership also. Of course, it's not substantiated, we do not know it. Everything will come out once the NIA investigates. But Kejriwal, I think, is cooking his own goose. And one shouldn't get taken in by his look, of a head clerk. He's a mighty slimy man, and he knows how to wiggle around and get out of the grip of the authorities. You know what's an eel? Eel is a fish, You hold it in your hand, it'll slip out. He's like that chap. He knows his audience, and he's a past master. I know what the hell he was doing when he was in the central services as a class 1 officer, and then he left it because he probably felt he's fish out of water there, and now he's clinging to the chief minister's chair. The day he leaves it, the Aam Aadmi Party will break up. And one of his close supporters, Mr. Raghav Chadda, is sitting in London getting eye surgery. I don't know whether he's really getting it or he's just sitting there, and Kejriwal must be mighty worried because he's the clue to all the funds, which are with Kejriwal. So, gentlemen, we'll have to wait and see what happens now. And now there's another man I'd like to discuss, and that is Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Now, I feel very sad when I speak about Rahul Gandhi, because he is the grandson of Indira Gandhi, and at the same time his great-grandfather was Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. I have a lot of grounds against Nehru, but nobody can say that Nehru was not a nationalist. I mean, he really didn't want to divide the country into caste, clan, or anything like that. But this man, Rahul Gandhi, is very keen to do that. Why? Because he wants to come to power by dividing the Hindus. His mother is a Christian, his sister is married a Christian, and I have my doubts whether he is a Hindu or believes in Hinduism. He doesn't believe. Maybe he hasn't really announced his religious love at the moment. We don't know what religion he follows, though he goes around to Hindu temples, but that looks like to be a total sham. Now about this gentleman, Rahul Gandhi, he has got a theme which he is parroting all over India, and that is to have a caste census. Now, why do you want to have a caste census? He says, when the caste census is there, everything will come out. What will come out? One needs to ask him. He says it will show that the lower castes are still deprived. Fine. I would like to ask him, the Congress was in power, Jawaharlal Nehru was then 17 years, Indira Gandhi for almost 15 years, and then there was Narasimha Rao for almost 5 years, and the Sardar, the famous Sardar, who's got a reputation of just bending knees before Indira Gandhi, he was there for 10 years. What he was doing there? Ask me, I don't know. Now, all these people were in power, but they didn't talk about caste census anytime. Now he's so desperate, Rahul Gandhi. Desperate is the word I have to use for him. And in desperation, he's coming out with the caste census. And he's pandering to the Muslim minority. So his calculation is, I can break the Hindus into different segments. You know the old policy of the British? Divide and rule. That's what he's planning. There was a caste census done in Bihar, but it hasn't led to anything. And the net result is, our good friend Nitesh has dumped the India alliance and joined with Narendra Modi, the NDA. He was the man who was going around for the caste census. So, gentlemen, Rahul Gandhi is in the same boat. He's going around with the caste census, but he's going to get dumped by the electorate. They aren't going to be taken in by his shenanigans, his acts. Because his main act in this is to try and somehow remain in power. But another more dangerous thing which he has come to fore, and that is Acharya Pramod, who has been with the Congress party for a good part of 32 years. He was expelled some time back for praising Modi and for saying that the next president of the Congress should be Priyanka Gandhi. So he's been sentenced, suspended, and he has said that in a meeting, Rahul Gandhi has said that after he comes to power, he's going to have a high-powered commission set up which will examine the Ram temple in toto and if need be reversed back to the old scheme. It just about shows how desperate this man is. Desperate to break the Hindus, to malign the Hindus. And I think he should be ashamed of himself, because he's the great grandson of Jawaharlal Nehru, who was a patriot all the way. And he didn't favor caste division at all. He didn't want any caste system at all. And he didn't expand the caste systems, neither his daughter Indira Gandhi. They didn't accept the Mandal report. The Mandal Commission was started by the Janata government, which came to power under Morarji Desai. And the report came, and Indira Gandhi kept in the drawer. She didn't want to implement it. But then came a man like Rahul Gandhi, who somehow wanted to cling to power, VP Singh. And he enforced the Mandal Commission, thinking that he would be in power all the time. But in 11 months he was overthrown, and now he's gone to the next world. But he left behind a stigma, a stain on the Indian political system. And Rahul Gandhi is now picking up that thing. He's also staining his shirt. He wears a white kurta and white t-shirt all the time, but he's staining it by these acts. His attempt to divide the Hindus is very clear, and it is part of a ploy to come back to power. He's thinking the lower caste will all vote for him, they'll be divided, the higher caste, lower caste, I'll have the Muslims vote, I'll add up and I'll come to power. Arey bhai, 2 and 2 don't always add up to 4. He should have understood that. But at the same time, this man doesn't have anything whatsoever to give to the Indian public. His manner of speaking is so flippant, and he looks like a playboy who's just been thrust in to take part in the election. It's a very sad occurrence. I'm very sorry about it. There are many people like him in the Congress party, maybe in the BJP also there could be 1 or 2, but I'm not aware of any BJP man talking anti-national activities. If he does it, they suspend that man, throw him out. But in Congress, these people are mentioned, given welcomes, and hugged and praised. You know the case of Mani Shankar Iyer. He went to Pakistan and said, help us overthrow the BJP government. And he was getting a lot of praise from Rahul Gandhi. He called the Indian Prime Minister Neech, lower caste, and for that he had to be suspended by Rajiv Gandhi because the Indian public couldn't stomach it. So, gentlemen, Rahul Gandhi is perhaps counting his last days in politics, but he's going to lose badly. And as far as things can hand, I think in 2004, on the 4th of this month, July, when the elections come out, 4th of June, that will be the end of the Congress, and it's going to break up into 2 parts. So, gentlemen, these are two characters I want to discuss. They are the dirty fish in the Indian political system, and the sooner they are slammed, cut off from the mainstream, the better. I will close now. I expect all of you to listen to my videos, like them, share it with your friends, and I really need your support, and I hope you'll get me. In the meanwhile, I will just tell you one thing. The painting at the back is made by me. In addition, this is my latest book which has just been published. I think you'll get it, and I hope you like it. And if you get a chance, it's available on Amazon and Flipkart. It's my 23rd book, and this is my first love writing, like John Masters, Colonel John Masters. And I will say goodbye and God bless, gentlemen. I hope you like my video. I hope so. And come back again for more. Goodbye and God bless.